Chris Level here with another edition of Pirate Talk. Colton Coons, producer and engineer behind the camera. Special guest, Devin Ramby, who coaches track and field over at Lubbock Cooper High School, has been doing this for, how many years is this now?
At Cooper, this is my 12th year.
Okay.
And then head girls since 2018 and head boys since 2021.
Yes, you wear many hats.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, there was some football back in your past.
Yeah,
too,
football. I did girls basketball for a while. I did softball for a year,
Box
baseball
out.
for a year.
Box out. Yeah.
Yeah, I got yelled at by many coaches because we wouldn't call the press off. Because we had no half-court offense, so
I like it.
we just had to stay in the press all game.
See, this is a track coach, man. Speed.
Yeah,
Hey, just
fast
apply
as we can
pressure.
go,
Yeah,
100%.
That's right. All gas, no brakes, right there by Coach Ramby. So this begins kind of a stretch where it gets pretty busy for the old.
We're in
track
the
coach.
we're in the thick of it right now. This stretch to spring break is just absolute chaos because you're trying to figure out who your kids are. You know, who's going to fit where. We talk about it being rigid fluidity. You know, this is our structure, but we're going to be really fluid within the structure. It's about staying healthy and being fast and learning about what your team is and what their identity is.
And how many? So what's the fall look like? Because you've got a lot of athletes that are elsewhere, so you don't have a lot of full-time.
Well, on the girls' side, we have about 38 full-time tracksters.
Okay.
That's all they do. They're track and field athletes. On the boys' side, yeah, that relationship with football, you know, we'll have the bulk of our team will come from the football period once that's over. So, girls' side, we're rolling track year-round for the most part. I'd say about 75% of our team.
I love some of the videos that you post on the training because it's pretty fascinating. It's
Yeah, we have a lot of fun, and that's what I love about that track period is it allows us to experiment. You know, I tell the girls we don't know what works and doesn't work. We're going to do it all, and then throughout the fall we'll find out what works and doesn't. And so it gives us a better idea heading into the spring of where we need to put our eggs. You know, which basket is it? And so it allows me to cut out the fluff and get down to the bare bones of what we actually have to do versus just things we can try. So I'm not opposed to experimenting in the fall. I mean, you can come in and say, hey, I got an idea. I'm like, let's try it.
Yeah,
let's try it.
And it's all about being faster.
Oh, yeah. The ultimate goal is speed. You know, we always joke around, like, if you see a fast guy doing something, we should all probably be doing that thing because that person's fast. So there's got to be something there. So that's how we pick and choose our drills sometimes.
Yeah. Kind of like trying to start this podcast, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
Sometimes
what works?
Just slow out of the gates
Yeah.
and all that, that's the host's fault, you know. But yeah, we won't. But okay, so now beginning of this spring semester, you kind of start to get your football guys and basketball ends, volleyball's over with on the girls' side. But now, at what point do you kind of start to figure out this is my team? Is how, you know, because we're in late February right now, but I mean, is this a month ago? Is this a week ago? Is this tomorrow? I mean,
yeah, that's on the boys' side, sprints for the most part, I'd say after football, you have a pretty good idea. Once they get to track and we can get an idea. Because like for all my senior boys, when football is over, they'll come to the track period. So like, you know, this year it was right after Thanksgiving. I had Cal, I had Branson, I had Cole Katara.
Some of those guys can run.
Yeah, I had all those guys show up from the football period, and so that gives us like an 8-week head start on sprinting, and which is huge. I can't tell you how big a deal that is, because speed is something that is very slow growing. You know, it takes a lot of time. You know, one of the quotes I like is about bamboo, where you'll water bamboo for 5 years before you see it sprout out of the ground, but then it grows fast. And so speed's kind of like that. You may work for 1, 2, 3 years without seeing much, and then the second that neurological chain links, it goes fast, and you'll see people with huge speed gains really fast. So any chance we have to sprint, we need to be sprinting. And that's a year-round deal. Like, Cal needs to sprint all year. He does not need to take weeks off here and weeks off there. And those fast guys are like that. Now, as far as jumps go, I won't really know that till basketball's over. I mean, the link right there between jumps and basketball is fantastic. So, like, we've got more basketball guys out from the guys' side this year than my entire career, and I'm pumped about it. I mean,
like who
Darius Butler, Deuce Johnson, Carter Harris. They're mainly underclassmen JV guys.
Yeah, JV guys. I know those.
But man, they can jump, and it's so fun to have them coming out, and you know they just jump right in and start jumping. And I think Deuce had one practice this week and went to Friendship and jumped great. So It is what it is. But as far as finding out your team, we really don't know our team. We tell them before spring break we don't know.
Deuce needs to be a little more aerodynamic with the haircut, though. I think it slows him down.
I won't tell him.
I've known him for a while.
Love me some Deuce.
Great, yeah, he's good, big, always smiling. But
we always tell him, we're really fluid between JV and varsity. We're trying to learn who you are and what you can do.
Yeah.
And then we come back from spring break, like, okay, here's our team.
Okay.
And so it'll take that long.
Okay, so it's
yeah.
And by the way, I love the Bambo example. And Bamboo is if you've ever had to like chop it down,
oh man,
or fight it, it's growing.
Good luck.
You're going to lose. And that's a great example because that's young people can see.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's like that's what I think. In bamboo that's what kendo sticks are made out of, or whatever.
Yeah, because they won't break,
and it hurts.
Yes, it does.
It hurts if you've ever been struck by one. not that Coach Ramby or I have ever. Colton Coons maybe on one hand. I'm always fascinated about this part too because you're trying to figure out your team.
Mm-hmm.
You're also trying to figure out, okay, even with the pieces that I do have, how do you go about, and maybe it's trial and error, but how do you figure out where these pieces need to go once we do get them, and like what would, because y'all's job is fascinating in that you can really like bog yourself down and like overthinking.
Guilty.
Okay.
Very guilty. Yeah. I'm too analytical. I'm too much of a perfectionist. So, my wife can tell you, I was in complete meltdown mode Saturday night because it just didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. And so I was.
What does meltdown mode look like?
I can't say on here. Okay. But man, it's just questioning everything. What did we do training wise last week? Where did I mess up? Was the warm up bad? Was the lift wrong? Did we not do enough recovery? Did we do too much recovery? Was the distances wrong? Should we have? There's 1,000 things. Should I have worked more handoffs? And when you're coming down to milliseconds in 100 or in a 4x1 or whatever, all that stuff adds up. 1 foot too far on a handoff or 1 foot too short, and one guy can't get there, has to slow down, and you're second place instead of first. And so there were a lot of things that great happened Saturday, and there's a few things that I just thought, man, that should have been better. And so for me, yeah, it's all the time like that. And, let's move this guy to this leg. Let's move him here. Let's try that guy in open 2. Let's put him third instead of fourth. We got wind in our face this meet, or it's going to be a south wind. So let's flip our 2 straights because he's good with the wind. He's better against it. So, like, that's stuff that I look at each and every meet. We're looking at that kind of stuff. So the puzzle, like you're talking about, it just grows as the season goes longer.
And this is I'm looking. You're just getting started. You're not.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna have to. Yeah, you can't be so hard on yourself.
I know. Like I said, it's a curse. Okay. It's a curse, but I try to shoulder the burden. Sometimes I do better than others.
Yeah. Because you've got. Yeah. You don't even have, as you just mentioned, you don't even have your whole kind of constructed.
Yeah, we don't.
Team yet, but I appreciate being competitive and wanting to win and all those things, but. Now, take me through the dynamic now because I think you mentioned before we started this thing, your girls' team isn't as numerous as it has been. Maybe boys is a lot bigger than it has been. Tell me about that dynamic. And I know the new school has affected everything too, but kind of take me through that dynamic.
Yeah, the boys' team, Coach Darden, thankful he's the head dude over there because he promotes track. Like, I don't think any head coach in football may promote track as much as he does to his kids. And that is so beneficial to us because you see those kids come out there. And, we've had a lot of kids in the past from football that come to track. And Chip and I talk about all the time about track can teach you a lot about yourself and how to compete. You can't roll coverage their way. You can't hide them in the 2-3 zone. You're exposed out there. So I think these kids learn how to lose. And I tell them all the time, before you can learn how to win, you got to learn how to lose. How do you handle it? Are you in your own head for a long time? Can you wash it away and go? Things like that. And so that football connection every year just seems to grow and grow. And so, this year, I think last year we had 118 total kids sign up for track. This year we're at 141. Now that's boys and girls mixed, but like you mentioned, the girls team went from about 68 to about 40 right now. And the guys team, meaning we had 20 more kids, and that's all on the guys side. So they probably grew by 40, 50 kids from the years previous. Now, obviously, we can't run all those every week, but at practice, it's a lot of bodies. It's a lot of bodies out there. And those younger kids, especially freshmen, sophomores, we tell them, hey, keep coming out. Keep sprinting, because you don't know what you'll look like or what your speed will look like in a year, 2 years, 3 years. Like, we've had a lot of kids that, like Coleman Vaughn a couple of years ago. He was JV all through his junior year. And then over that summer, something happened. And he came back senior year, one of the fastest guys we had. Went 10-7 in the 100 and made it all the way to the regional finals as part of that relay. So we don't ever want to kick those kids out. Now, that doesn't mean we'll get them in a meet either, but we want to keep them around. On the girls' side, yeah. We're competing against Liberty at Friendship. You're looking across the lane, and Keegan in the 200 is right next to Campbell, Campbell Beeler, who was a regional finalist with us in 2 separate events last year. And now you're having to go against her. Braylee Barron, Natalie Miller, Bailey Fillingham. I mean, there's all kinds of girls over there that I hope are doing great at Liberty, but at the same time, you're a little jealous that they're not running with you anymore. And so I think on the girls' side, we're seeing that effect a little bit more than the boys' side, where, like I said, I'm about 20 girls short on the girls' side. I'm struggling to make a full JV this year. Definitely don't have a full varsity, but it, creates opportunities for other kids. So we may not be as deep or as fast this year, but maybe we're growing some good roots for some future growth on the girls' side.
Bamboo.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right.
And speaking of fast, I get, I'm guilty of like, okay, football season's over with, man. I'm not going to see Cal Ritz anymore or a Jaden Hibbler. That's the beauty of track season, because we all get to see them in a different element.
Yeah,
and I know
absolutely.
You're glad about that.
Hib, man.
Okay, yeah.
That dude's
So
a freak athlete.
See, and he was such a good addition to obviously Chip's team on the football side. But what is he doing for track and field?
He's exclusively going jumps, and I said that's fine. I know you're fast, but if you can jump really far, I'll let you not run. Okay. He doesn't really like the hard running workouts, and I'm okay with that. I told him, hey, as long as you jump high and jump far, I'll let you out of those.
Okay.
Long, triple, and high, and I think he double or triple medaled last week at Andrews in all 3 events. He won high jump and triple. And then he double medaled this week in long and triple. He got 3rd on both, I believe.
Okay.
And so the dude's he's just a natural. His mechanics are all bad, but man, he just gets out there. And so
he's like a muscle hamster.
Yeah, I don't even care,
like,
dude. You just go jump. I'm not even trying to overcoach you. I'll just screw you up. I'll coach you down. So, but yeah, and then Ethan Nichols is another one in that jump squad. That's very impressive. He's medaled at both meets so far in long and triple. Him and Hib are pushing each other. Their goal is to go 1-2 every meet, and so they make each other better.
Okay.
Vinny Sipowicz in high jump, Mike Deaver in high jump. Those dudes went 1-2 or 1-3 in the past 2 weeks, so it's been fun to watch them.
And these are all football guys.
Yeah, exactly, that track football connection.
Yeah, and like I think is this a 4x1 or 4x200 that got 3rd or 2nd? Like who?
Yeah, 4x1 they won it last week. Andrews got 2nd.
Okay, Ritz, Kyler McDowell, Carter Gentry, and Branson Carlisle.
Yep, that's it. All football dudes. Yeah, all football guys. That's a fun little relay. Like I said, our handoffs weren't great Saturday, and I'm beating myself up about it, but they're doing some good things, and they opened up last week with our fastest opening 4x1 we've ever had. So like that 42.7 they ran at Andrews, that's the fastest first meet we've ever had in the 4x1. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
And what's Cal's goal this year in that? Can you? I mean, what's peak time that we want to work toward? Can we break any? I mean, PRs.
He's got a chance at all of it. Last year at Andrews, he opened the season like 11.28, and this year at Andrews went 10.7. So like he's already a half a second quicker.
Because it gets better as it goes.
Absolutely. Yeah. The weather is the main thing, and I tell kids that all the time. I know, I try to say, look, I think I'm a good coach, and I'm really an okay coach, because the reason you get faster over the year is simply the weather gets better. And that's what people don't understand about track is like, the first part of the season, it's cold, and your body will not run great in the cold. It's like the reason they don't have track in the Winter Olympics. It's not conducive to good times. So it's a summer sport. And so,
although I'd watch it if they did, and if it was on ice, whatever, it might be kind of an entertaining watch.
But I think so. It'd be fun.
Probably some more hamstring pulls and some things like that.
Absolutely. And so we tell the kids, like, look, when the weather gets better, you'll be faster. So you just need to ride the storm out during this early part of the year.
Yeah, good advice, yeah.
And so for someone like Cal, if he can start out at 10.7, as that weather gets better, that should come down too. And he's battling some hamstring stuff off and on. I'm a big believer in those elite level guys feel things others don't. And so, a slow guy's not going to feel a hamstring like a really fast guy would. And so that's things we have to manage all year. We just got to be healthy. So if we're healthy, we'll be fast.
How hard is it for you as a coach who's a perfectionist and beat yourself up and all that, but how hard is it for you to, like a big-time fast guy like a Ritz, to push them maybe out of their comfort zone versus also listening to them and like going, hey man, I get it. I know what you can do. I don't want to push too hard, but there's got to be a balance there that you
100%.
probably struggle with.
Oh, absolutely. Cal and I talk. He wants to run in college really bad, and so the conversation we had was exactly what you're talking about. Like, look, 10.4s are fast. They're great, but if I want to run the 100 in college, I'm gonna have to go a little bit faster. And so
which is moving.
Which if you watch the the Big 12 indoors at Tech, they're fast.
And what were some of those times? Like
in the low sixes in the 60, which is wild. I mean, wild stuff. And so like for Cal, either we have to get that much faster at 100 or we can move up in distance. And so like him and I had a long talk about the 400 this year. So like his goal is to go out there and run a really fast 4. Okay. To make himself more marketable. And so to me, that's comfort zone, like you said. He's a 1-2 guy, and we're pushing him out of that comfort zone to go 4.
Okay.
Now, to come along with that, like you said, I get frustrated sometimes because, hey, my hamstring here, my quad here. We had 2 or 3 Saturday. Hey, my quad's kind of tender. And, the football coach in me is like, hey, tough it out, rub some dirt on it, let's go. The track coach in me is like, look, if we're going to be the best we can be come April, we got to have you at 100%. And this meet in the long term of things really doesn't matter. It's not like a football season where you're having to win a certain amount of games to make the playoffs. Like, district is the only meet that matters. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you do before it. So I have to remind myself all the time, we just got to get to district.
In the mirror on a Saturday night sometimes.
Oh, it's ugly. Yeah. It's ugly. My coaches are probably like, this guy has no clue what he's talking about, because I'm constantly doubting myself, like, oh man, we shouldn't have done this, or hey, should we do that?
Speaking of, who else helping you?
So
I know Coach Blakely is involved.
Yeah, Coach Blakely's our distance. Coach Bacchus helps her there. Coach Reed, we lost 3 coaches that we didn't get back last year, and so we're kind of short-staffed a little bit. And so myself, Coach Jenkins, Emily Jenkins, and then Coach Reed, we had to kind of pick up some slack, and so we all had to pick up extra events. And so that's been a challenge. It really has, but they do a phenomenal job. I mean, there's no one I would trust outside of myself except Coach Jenkins to do hurdles. Coach Reed has made shot into an absolute unit over there. I mean, he's got guys everywhere. They're throwing as best they ever have in my time being here. And he does a phenomenal job with high jump. Coach Culpepper's over at pole vault. Coach Hooper helps him with sprints and relays, and he's done a phenomenal job. He's one I can trust when I'm not there to get handoffs or something like that. And then once basketball's over, we'll get Coach Reich out, Coach Miller, Coach Spain will come over and help with some jumps. And so it's a great staff. I mean, I tell my guys all the time, like, I just drive the bus. I just get you to where you need to go, and everyone else does everything else.
I don't believe that. You know what? You've always driven there's another bus you've always been in charge of driving. That's the Adidas bus.
100%.
I see it right there. Yep. The 3-stripe Army is what
it goes all the way back to senior year of high school.
Okay.
I was a big Run DMC guy.
I
got into Run DMC really heavy. And
Adidas,
and so they always wore it. And then at the time, that's what we wore for football. We had Adidas. And so since then, I haven't looked back. And then I grew up with Coach Taylor. He's one of my best friends, and he was a Nike guy. And so part of it was just to spite him. And so, I can't go back.
And our lovely city is about to be flooded with it.
And I could not be happier.
Okay, yeah.
I could not be happier. I told my wife, I was like, you better get the checkbook ready because I'm going to have to redo my whole wardrobe when Tech flips to Adidas.
Yeah, which is just a few months away, actually.
Yeah, it's not long. I'm pumped.
That's right, a few months away. Okay, I'm always curious about these kinds of things. What did we advise? Superstition. Do you have one for a meet day?
I really don't. I'm not a big superstitious guy. I'm more, and I know Chip's big on this because I remember being from football, but I'm a routine guy. I guess that would be the only superstition is like there's a routine throughout the week, and the routine needs to stay pretty the same so we're prepared to run come the next day. Now, I'm not afraid to change that routine up year by year.
Okay.
But for this year, this is the routine.
Respect the routine.
Yeah, we're sticking to it. This is how it goes.
Yeah. Best pregame meal or snack for a track athlete the day of a meet?
Protein. I mean, we are on our kids all the time about what they
Like
eat.
the shakes or
It could be, but I mean, just some chicken.
Okay.
Chicken breast is good. It can't be too greasy. It can't be too heavy. I don't want to be out there eating a huge greasy half-pound burger, but a chicken sandwich or something like that would be phenomenal. And then some sugars. Okay. That's the thing I think people leave out is like some sugars through fruit, and I know you in football season. I can't remember who it was, but they had the gummy worm guy on the sideline. That's science backed. I mean, you need shots of sugar after that really high intense stuff to repair your glycogen system.
Yeah,
so.
Those energy chews.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just like an easily consumable.
Yeah, and then lots of water. I mean, we're telling our kids you better be drinking Pedialyte year round for track, or Liquid IV or whatever you were telling me, or Drip Drop or whatever.
Drip Drop, yeah,
so I think what you're starting to find out in the performance world is that nutrition has a lot bigger role to play than everybody thought. And
science.
Yeah, and I nerd out to science stuff when it comes to track and field. I mean, I can't tell you how many clinics I went to this summer strictly based on recovery, nutrition, sleep is the big thing. I think they found out, sleep is the biggest performance enhancer. So before you want to change how you're training or what your runs or lifts are, you better look and see what your sleep looks like.
Yeah, good enough sleep.
Yeah.
That's when guys, athletes are disciplined as the older they get when they start worrying about that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
When they start talking sleep and nutrition and all
Absolutely.
that. Not just like, I can't miss a day, I got to work out 2 or 3 times a day. No, it's not necessarily all about that.
Yeah, and that's actually detrimental. I mean, that's the other thing is recovery and time off. They're finding out, that's a lot bigger deal than we
Everybody's
thought.
too Kobe Bryant themed.
Yeah,
It's
that's
kind
right.
of what- yeah. Well, we could sit here and keep talking for forever, but we're gonna, I think, try to get you back in here another month or so.
Yeah,
whenever
perfect.
we
We'd
get
love to.
closer to district and all that stuff, and see how if you're still beating yourself up or if things have come together.
Odds are I am, but hey, we'll see.
But that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Because he's a perfectionist, as we said. But man, Coach Ramby, I appreciate the time. It's always fun to visit with you.
Absolutely.
And keep your kids healthy,
Yep.
and all those things. It should be fun. Avoid the wind. If you can. I know it's hard.
Yeah, it's supposed to be brown today, so
Yeah,
we'll see.
That's right. All right, but that's going to do it for another edition of Pirate Talk. For Chris Lovell, for Devin Ramby, and for Colton Coons behind the camera. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time.